So the game should be starting in about 7 minutes. I wanted to do a real quick demonstration though. Um, so, okay. So I wanted to show on the site, real quick, that if you um, go to the dashboard, the main page, um, it will pop up the upcoming games, which I'm sure most of you have noticed since everybody's shown up for their game. But we're doing precaps, and starting today, I decided to do a little bit more of a visual precap as well. Um, so you can kind of see, important things. So both games tonight, neither player has played the others, but a lot of the other games they have already played, and it's interesting to see what what their head versus head is. And then season one, season two, and all-time records. Um, and then we also have the current rating, which I would like to get on the site within this week or next week, attached to the player cards. Um, and so, yeah, I just want to let everybody know that you can kind of see a preview of the game that way. Um, you're more than welcome to invite people to Season 4. I think we have one person already on the waiting list. And when you're on the waiting list, obviously you're not going to play in our games, our league games, but you're more than welcome to play in our community games, which will be starting soon. And you can use the site, you can find practice people, you can play with people, you can get to know people. So there's still a ton of things they can do, even though they're not quite in the league yet. And you've probably seen our recap, so our recaps are going to be here. I don't have the results for this game yet because I haven't talked to anybody and nobody seems to know, but we'll get that up as soon as we have the results for this game. Um, and then tonight we are doing Xadiah versus MicroAct, and I will be casting that. And then Micro and I are going to switch, and I will be playing Lasmataz, and he will be um, casting. Alright, let's get the show on the road. Our first map is going to be King's Cove. Okay, so Xadiah is one of our random players, and I'm not actually sure which race he's best at, but it's not quite as contrasted as like who was it? John, I believe it was Johnny Glass. That was also random, and he needed Protoss, or he was best with Protoss by far. All right, so Xadiah is Terran. All right, in our top left corner we have the blue Zerg MicroAct. And in the bottom right, we have the purple Terran, Xadiah. So a classic ZVC.
Game paused.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, if you are random, we're going to say your race. And there was a big discussion over this, and there was a lot of disagreements, but in the end, it was ruled 2-3 from the directors that you do need to say your race.
pursued.
Alright. Alright. Sorry, I had to write something down so I could address that in a meeting soon. Okay. So, our Zerg player is going hatch first, which is a little bit more of an aggressive opening. We'll see if it stays to an aggressive build. Over on the Terran side, we have the standard barracks. I don't like, well, okay. With Zerg, it makes a little bit more sense, but I'm not sure I love this supply depot that fast. It's 100 minerals you can use to do anything else. You're not going to get supply blocked for a little bit. I will usually build the expansion first and then the supply depot, but I don't think that's bad. I just think it's, and it's probably better against Zerg so that you don't have like a 12 pull knocking on your door immediately. Okay, so we have the standard Reaper at the standard time, maybe a little bit later, specifically because of that supply depot. The Reaper is going to come into the main, try and bypass those two Zerglings. Should be able to get around the Queen, unless he starts fighting things. Okay, so that's a good, decent scout. He knows that speed is coming, and he knows that the hatch was first, or the pull was first. And then down over here, we have an Overlord that's definitely going to go down. Micro's okay, though. He's already got a little bit extra. As a Terran player, I don't have to think about that all that much. Like, I just... my supply depots are never floating over my opponent's base. So, I think a good Zerg player needs to, have a couple extra um, Overlords just for such an occasion. Okay, so we're working on our third barracks and second barracks and getting that engineering bay. So this definitely looks like a bio push. To see the exact compensation of that, we'd have to take a look at the add-ons in a couple minutes here. Okay, the Roach Warren just went down, so it seems like this could be early Roach versus early bio, and if everything else is even, a more marine heavy is probably not as great to Roaches as a more Marauder heavy army would be. It's like he's building a combination of both. Getting stim, that's good. 5 Roaches are coming out. Over here. I love how it shows the eggs these days with the Game Heart app. Okay, so now there are some roaches on the map. I think Micro did a great job of connecting his bases and getting that highway started, but now I'd like to see it continue to extend. Because as a Zerg versus Terran, the more creep you can have, the better. Gives you a warning system when they're attacking. It lets you move to their base faster. It lets you maneuver better if you happen to engage them on the map. I feel like that creep is so valuable, and as a Terran player, I'm always scanning and trying to take him out. Okay, it looks like this the mine was spotted and scouted. Okay, so we have a pretty good 5-minute timing push coming out here. It looks like he is starting to spread some of the creep around now. Good. That's what I like to see, as long as I'm not playing against them. Okay, so we have some Ravagers, which are great at taking out tanks and flying units and buildings. They're a little bit harder to work against this type of army. It can be done, and it can be done well, but you got to be careful about how it's going. Oh, that was an unfortunate tank placement. And the Lings are now in the main base. That's bad. Okay, so I feel like the Marauders should win this if they were targeting the same thing, but they're not, and so they're not gonna. Down here, this looks bad. Okay, so I'd like to see some of the Zerglings going around back to trap this, but they're going to be taken out pretty quickly here. So, wow. Okay, now the attack has been held. Um, Interestingly, looking at the supply, I'm a little bit confused because it's about the same. Obviously, um, obviously the worker count is going to be in Micro's favor after killing 18 workers, but it's not in his favor as much as you would think it would be. It's only by 6 right now. And Micro also has a smaller army. So I'm wondering if the attack didn't go as I mean, it was held. It was, and he didn't bring anything back, so he's pretty much back to 0. You got to keep making things while you're fighting, but the Liberators were also very, very helpful in in that defense. So a lot of people neglect taking out the larva, but you can one-shot with the Liberators, and that means they can't build anything. So every larva you shoot is like killing an actual unit, that, or at least delaying that unit. Okay, so the Liberator is going to get taken out by these Hydralisks. I think Hydralisks are going to be a much better choice for this army. Maybe with some Lings and maybe Banelings. Another good choice might be to get a Lurker Den going with these Hydralisks. But right now I see both Hydralisk and like Hydralisk range and Glio Reconstitution. The speed for Roaches just finished, so he's getting some upgrades for these tier 1 and 2 units. Well, and we have tier 1 and 2 units over here too, so should be interesting to see how this factors out. Again, a big part of this is going to be the tanks, and oh, is he going to catch it? Yes, he is. Oh no! Oh, those tanks are so vulnerable to... Okay, he saved him. I feel like if he would have attacked one tank, he might have gotten one. Alright, now Zerg knows this attack is coming, so let's see how he responds now. Looks like he's gonna put the army in his third base. He's putting his army kind of in between his third and his natural, which is a good choice. Okay, looks like we're gonna start with the tanks just a little bit out of sight range. My guess is he's going to use the infantry to bait some of these units out. Okay, a couple of Zerglings. Those little pokes can be really, really helpful too. Okay, I liked that quick snipe. Yeah, the tanks, I'd still like to see a little bit closer, but this is a very technical, very micro-intensive battle. Both players are playing it pretty well. Usually somebody would have screwed up by now. Alright, I like seeing these tanks where they are. That's where I wanted them to start. Oh, those tanks are just blowing up that. You had them on hold position, which is okay if you're ready to respond immediately, but I don't always love hold position. It can get you in trouble. So it looks like this third base is going to fall. However, there's no third base on the Terran side, so it's not as much of an advantage. The advantage probably does go to Terran when the bases are the same, just because Zerg can make bases faster and should be making bases faster. This is a very interesting, slow, methodical push where he's, repairing and resieging and not necessarily attacking as quickly as he can. There is a counterattack coming, which should hopefully force a cancel. Okay, and this fight is starting, so I'll try and go back and forth as best as I can. Looks like Zerg is just not... Well, they have a lot of units. I didn't like the micro as much as it could have been, though. Okay. So, we did force the cancel over here, and now the Zerglings are going to come back and help. This looks like a pretty dire situation for MicroAct at the moment, and he calls the GG. So that looked like a pretty good game. Like the supply right now is 100 to 20, and that's not very indicative of the game because I thought MicroAct actually put up a pretty good fight, and he was in a pretty good spot for a while. I think what happened mostly is that Xadiah just built more units. um, Maybe he's got a little bit better micro. He's connecting to everything without waiting in, but it just seemed like there was too much, and that's not quite the story. It's the story a little bit for definitely here and a little bit here. Um, but looks like they were actually pretty close to each other most of the game. So maybe it was the micro that was the bigger deal. Um, it also helps to have this much more money than this guy. If micro is making 1,200 um, a minute and somebody else is making twice that or more than twice that, that's a problem. So that is probably the difference there. Okay, on to our next game, which is going to be on Acropolis. So this is one of the new maps on the map pool this year. I believe there are some Vespene geysers that you can mine faster with them. Um, I don't actually know where they are yet. I'll try and look for them on the map, but I know that's the like all three of the new maps have like a little special thing about them, like the inhibitor zones or the minerals that only have 5 that you can open up new paths with. All right. All right. In the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg MicroAct. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. MicroAct. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss Xadiah. Not much is happening yet, but I should probably be talking either way. Okay, once again, we're going spawning pool first. Um, I'm not sure what the advantage of going spawning pool first is unless you're going to be really aggressive. Um, I guess it's probably an insurance policy against proxies because you'd have your Zerglings and your queen there just a little bit faster. So if somebody tried a super proxy, it might be nice to be able to just build, Zerglings and a queen as soon as it happens instead of. So okay, then maybe that's part of the rationale for that. It's totally a guess on my part though. Okay. Looks like our Protoss will be attempting to wall off his natural. Okay, we're starting with an Adept, which is going to be chrono boosted out, which makes me think it's probably going to cross the map pretty quickly. Warp gate started, as is necessary, as is Zergling speed. Both of those are almost mandatory. Okay, the other reason for getting a very, very quick pull is so you can make a very, very quick Roach Warren, and that's my guess now that I'm putting that together. That's probably why he's going pull first. So, this quick Roach Warren looks going to be a lot like the last game, maybe, where you're going to get those Ravagers up, and that's probably okay. I thought that when the Ravagers were in the game, things were going okay for MicroAct. He had a really good attack that was just barely held. but I think he left himself too thin. I'm not sure if he wasn't making units during the attack, or if he forgot to. I don't know. Like I'm totally guessing, but after such a successful attack, it was surprising to see Xadiah come back that quickly. But like I said, I think these types of things are good. He's a great scout, excellent scout. He's gonna see the Stargate. Ooh. All right, so that sucks for Xadiah because I'm sure he was hoping to hide that a little bit longer. Some players might even cancel the Stargate at this point and throw down something else entirely to like confuse him. Stargate means that we're probably going to need Hydralisks and probably going to need at least a few spore crawlers. I don't see any of those being built yet, but I'd kind of like to see a layer started so that we can get some of those things I just said. It is possible that he didn't click on the. Oh look, he did exactly what I said he was going to do. Okay, so he did cancel his Stargate, and he instead decided to go for Templar Archives. I'm really amused. So here's that hatchery turning into a lair, and I'm going to guess there's going to be a very, very fast Hydralisk den to go down right after that. And a Hydralisk den is not going to be helpful if he starts building a High Templar, or I don't know what he's. Let's see what he does with this Templar Archives. Oh, sorry, Templar Archives. Yeah, he's definitely going High Templar. So we should see some Templar being built soon, and probably Storm being researched. Zerg is starting his third base down here. Okay, so we have kind of an army that's upgrading at the moment, and I would assume it's going to move across the map pretty quickly. Now, I still don't see Storm started, which makes these. Oh, he doesn't even have any of the. Oh, okay. So he's just going for Archons. All right. So this army versus this army. Well, the advantage definitely goes to Protoss if he's back with these 4 shield batteries. Xadiah went way defensive this game, which probably just means he learned from last game. This army, what do we got? 16 Zerglings and 4 Ravagers. I mean, Ravagers can be devastating if the opposing player isn't super micro intensive. You just can't let those land on you. And, they can hit like 5 or 6 people. They got an insane amount of splash damage. So, as long as you're careful in moving things the way you need to, you should be okay. Some of the very, very best microplaying, like on Arch Pros and stuff, they can actually almost put the biles in like a circle around the army and give them no way to get out, um, or place it in front of where the army is so that they walk into it, that kind of stuff. Okay, this was bad timing for Xadiah. He looks like he's going to turn around halfway. Oh, no, he's going to use the warp recall. Okay, Zerg doesn't have much of a chance in this fight, not because he did anything wrong, but just because there's a ridiculous amount of shield batteries. But I do like that he figured that out quickly and turned around. Um, it sucks that not all the recalled units did what they were supposed to do. Okay, looks like Xadiah is going to just keep chasing. Army versus army, that's probably an okay move because... Okay, so no biles have hit so far, and looks like we're going to lose both Ravagers. Alright, let's see what we have back here for defense. See, this kind of happened last game where they're just... Well, okay, that's fair. I didn't see the guys coming down for a minute. Alright, so there's 8 Hydralisks and a handful of Zerglings. I don't think this would have held. It's going to hold, but I guess we'll see. Okay, that was pretty good micro. Saved a lot of his guys. I want to see everybody attacking at the same time, though. You don't want to send those Zerglings in by themselves. Gotta get that... Okay. Alright. I would run away now if I was purple. He did what he needed to do. He killed the base. That's exactly what he's doing. All right, so I really like it to see when people don't get that greedy because I might have tried to push in and it may or may not have worked, but um, you definitely don't lose any of the fights you don't have. All right, so I'm curious as to what. Oh, okay. So Xadiah's going for a Lurker Den, and if he wants any chance of using those, he needs to start morphing those Hydralisks like immediately. There it is. Um, they are extremely expensive sometimes. Sorry, I should have put that up a while ago. So I still only see one lurker. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna have four soon. That should do pretty well. If you've noticed, Stim is like almost done. It's gonna show up here in just a second. And you cancel it or is it done? I didn't see it. Huh. Doesn't seem like he is gonna be using Stim because he keeps making Archons, which is fine. I'm not sorry, not Stim. Storm. Okay, Xadiah has tried twice to make a proxy. Okay, this is going to deter him at least. Okay, so that was a good deterrent and a good hold for now. So now I assume we're going to be making some sort of something that detects like an observer. So he can't build an observer because he doesn't have a robotics facility, which he's building now. I think that's a great choice. It's just going to take a minute, and that's going to give Micro some time to get back in this game or attack with his lurkers. Ooh, let's see. Good game. I don't think he needs to quit yet. I think that this was a little bit premature. Um, yeah, because he's got these Hydralisks. So, the game is over. Uh, the score is 2-0. Xadiah has won because good game was called. And it's actually interesting that Micro is doing this because he's the one that had this happen to him last time. But it's fine. I mean, I guess you're allowed to finish the game as much as you want to, and I think you should. But I'm a little bit disheartened that he called good game so early. I think he was just frustrated he lost his army, but he didn't. He only lost one lurker when he called good game. So I'm well. I mean, that's just our rules, and it's funny. I just would just think anybody more than Micro would know that because last season Jeff called good game and then continued to play, and it was a big point. It was a big problem, so we had to make a rule about it. I'm a little bit worried that Micro might win because then we're going to have a problem again. Okay, good. So I think there's nothing wrong with doing that. I think you can call good game and keep playing. There's no that's fine. In fact, uh, players don't get a lot of chance to practice their latch last ditch efforts of either a quick all in or an all out hold. But I think it's good practice. And he quit when he lost his second army. And again, I don't think he needed to, but once he called GG, the game was over. Yeah, Zedai is actually agreeing and say I don't think that was a game. Okay, the next game is going to be in a half hour.